Hey guys, welcome back. Assignment 2 is going to be just derivative stuff, so basically stuff you could have done by middle of September. We will be practicing quotient rule, product rule, and chain rule. So let's start with quotient rule. Hope you all start with low d high minus high d low underneath the low squared goes. So in this case, and when we're doing these types of questions, we should always write out our derivative in terms of x first before you plug in numbers. So this one, we're going to do low, d high means derivative of the high one, minus high, d low would be derivative of g, underneath the low squared goes. And then now it's asking specifically, oh, I need to pull it up. Okay. At x equals 6. So now we plug in g of 6, f prime of 6 minus f of 6, g prime of 6 over g of 6 squared. G of 6, so that's literally just the point, so that's the really bolded line. You go over to 6 and you see that g of 6 is equal to 2. So this is now g prime of 6, that's going to be the slope. I noticed that at that part of the graph, g is going down, so that's going to be a negative slope. Here you do your rise over your run, so this is going down 2 and over 1, so that's a slope of -2. And then now we need to find f of 6 and f prime of 6. So again, go to the graph, but now we're looking at the other line. F of 6, that's just the point, that's at 4. F prime, that is the slope. Again, it is a negative slope, so it's going down. But now it shows it going down 1 and over 2, so -1 over 2. And now we simplify. 2 times -1/2 is -1. This is -4 times -2, which is +8, over 2 squared, which is 4. -1 plus 8 is 7 over 4. There's your answer. Oops, can't see. B, this looks like product rule. So product rule is u prime v plus u v prime. So in this case, h prime of x is equal to f of x, f prime of x, g of x, plus, just g, plus f of x, g prime of x. And then now I plug in, it's asking you to evaluate at 1. So this is just f prime of 1, g of 1, plus f of 1, g prime of 1. And again, going to the graph to find f prime of 1, that is the slope. F is increasing there, it goes up 2 over 1, so that's the slope of 2. F at 1 is 1, 2, 3, the point y is 3 there. G of 1 at 1 is 1, 2, 3 as well. And then g prime of 1 is the slope. That's a negative slope going down 1 over 1, so it's a slope of -1. So this is 6 minus 3, which is 3. So I have my derivative, and then I have my actual answer. Here I've got the derivative and my actual answer. For 2a, this looks like chain rule to me. So chain rule tells me take the derivative of the outside. So the outside here is f prime. Or outside is f, derivative of the f is f prime. Leave the inside alone, so leave it g of x. Then multiply by derivative of the inside. So this will be f prime of g times g prime. And it's asking for h prime of 6. So h prime of 6 is just f prime of g of 6 times g prime of 6. Now we just go to the table. G prime of 6 is -2. F prime, can't do that yet, but I can plug in g of 6. So go to your table, g of 6 is 4. And then I want f prime of g of 6, so that's f prime of 4. F prime of 4 is -1. -1 times -2 is +2. So here's my derivative, and here's my plugged in answer. This also looks like chain rule to me. I've got an inside function and an outside function. So chain rule tells me to take the derivative of the outside. So that's going to be this 3. So I'm going to bring the 3 down, leave the inside alone, and this is now squared, right? So that's the power rule, bring down, subtract 1. Not the same as add 1, divide by that. That's antiderivative. This is the derivative. And I'm not done because I did derive the outside, left the inside alone, and then I multiply by derive the inside. And now I plug in at x equals 4, so p prime of 4 is 3 times f of 4 squared times f prime of 4. F prime of 4 is negative 1, 3. F of 4 is 2, and that's squared. 2 squared is 4. 3 times 4 times negative 1 is negative 12. Oops. See, this looks like, actually, I'm going to change this. I'm going to put a 2 right there. Okay, so this looks like product rule for sure, but it also looks like chain rule because I have an inside to my function. So I'm going to do my u prime v plus u v prime. U is going to be x, so u prime will just be 1. V is going to be f of 2x, which means the derivative will be f prime of 2x, but then there's an inside times 2, because I would have to use chain rule on this. So then r prime is equal to 1 f of 2x plus x, f prime of 2x times 2. I want f prime, r prime of 2. So this becomes 1 f of 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 f prime of 4 times 2. F prime of 4 is negative 1. And f of 4 is 2. So this is 2 plus negative 4, which is negative 2. All right, and our last one is finding the limit. So anytime we've got a limit, we're going to actually straight up plug in. So this is the limit as x approaches 3. So I plugged into the top. The limit as x approaches 3 would be 2 f of 3 minus 6. F of 3 is 3. So this is 2 times 3 minus 6. 6 minus 6, this is 0. I'm going to plug in on the bottom now. So this is 4e to the 2 times 3 is 6 minus g of 3. This is just 4 because e to the 0 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. And g of 3 is 4, so I'm getting 0. So I have the limit, and I'm getting 0 over 0, which is indeterminate, which means this is going to be a L'Hopital's. Now, if I got 5 on top over 0, then the limit does not exist, because that would be dividing by 0, not possible. If I got 0 over 5, then that would just be 0 divided by a number, which is still 0. Then that would just be 0. But I have 0 over 0, which is neither of those things. That's indeterminate, and that's where I can use my L'Hopital's rule. L'Hopital's rule tells us that this limit is the same as the limit if I just take the derivative of top divided by derivative of bottom, not using quotient rule, just top derivative over bottom derivative. So I'm going to do that. This is 2, derivative of f is f prime. Derivative of 6, that's just a constant, so it goes away, 0. Derivative of this is 4. E to the something is still e to the something. Leave the inside alone, but then you multiply by derivative of the inside. Derivative of the inside would be times 2 minus derivative of x. And then now we're ready to plug in again. This is 2 f prime of 3 over 4e to the 6 minus 6 times 2 minus g prime of 3. E to the 6 minus 6 is e to the 0. That's just 1. So this is 4 times 2, which is 8. G prime of 3 is 1. And then on top, we've got 2. F prime of 3 is negative 1. So I've got negative 2 over 7 on the bottom. And there's my answer. Now, for free response, you have to be very, very careful with your notation. So you have to show this top limit going to 0 and this bottom limit going to 0 separately. You can't say this equals 0 over 0. They have to be separate. And then you have to show this is equal to the limit derivative over derivative. Some of you on the mock exam knew exactly what to do, but you did not show this, and you dropped the limit notation here. So even though you got the right answer, you actually got 0 of the 3 points, which sucks. So just being careful to show each top and bottom limit going to 0, and then showing the limit still of derivative over derivative, and then you plug in the 3. All right, good luck with the practice. See me at office hours. Love you guys. Miss you.